Hey, sports fans, Larry Eder here. This is the Journey to Compete cross country. This is our collaboration with Nike and RunBlogRun. I'm Larry Eder, and we are with Jazleen Olivia Malherek-Osorio. Did I do it right, Jazleen?
Almost.
Okay, you give us your name.
Jazleen Malherek-Osorio.
Okay, cool. And then Maddie Gullickson.
Yep.
Okay, and then Coach Kalsey Beach, and the other
Yeah.
coach is Chris Beach, and he's dealing with the kidlets. Okay, hello everybody,
Hey, Larry.
and
Hello.
Hi.
and
Thanks for having
congratulations on your fantastic performance at the NXN.
Thank you.
I call it the World Series of Cross Country. So, it's a pretty big thing. But I wanted to kind of talk to you about your whole journey this season because I find it fascinating. I went to the Southwest regional. I'd never been to an NXN regional before, and I got to tell you, it was really fun. So you competed in the Heartland Regional or the Midwest Regional?
The
Heartland.
Regional.
And so that was up in lovely South Dakota, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little bit of snow.
A lot of.
So what was it like? Well, you've run in snow in Minnesota. You guys do that. So tell the kids who are on the West Coast or in the South how you dress for snow.
Well, we made sure to have a lot of layers. Like we had like two pairs of pants on. I think I had like three layers of tops and stuff when we were running.
Yeah.
We make sure to do a really good warm up to make sure we're like fired up for the race. But then actually when it comes to race time, like all I had on was like a jersey, shorts, and long sleeves because in Minnesota we deal with a lot of cold. Like we're used to it and we were ready to take on NXR.
Maddie, how was it for you?
Watching these gals at that race was not so much the temperature, but
Uh-huh.
they were running on a sheer sheet of ice and
Oh,
just
wow.
that strength and stability that and the lack like they didn't panic over that.
Yeah.
The city wouldn't allow it to be plowed, and so it had just a ton of snow the day before that kind of turned into this icy, super gritty course conditions. It was wild.
So were you allowed to
Yeah.
use spikes on the course?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of the same situation as Jazz. I had on a whole bunch of like probably two pairs of pants, long sleeves, hoodie, jacket, all warming up in. And then the hardest decision was probably what length spikes we should use because we didn't know if we should use like the mud spikes that are a little bit thicker or do
Uh-huh.
half-inch spikes or inch long spikes. But then that's what we have our coaches, Chris and Kelsey, for. So they helped us out with that.
Cool. Jaslyn, tell me about the conditions on the course for the regional.
It was definitely like Kelsey said, it was super icy. There was a lot of snow, but it didn't phase us that much, honestly. Like we were able to still run very fast times and like there was some wind too during the race, but like once you're in race mentality and race mode,
Sure.
like all that just is like it's pushed to the side. Like it's just about like chasing the person right in front of you and it didn't really affect us too much.
Maddie, how was the race for you?
I would say Jasmine said it perfectly. Like the conditions were definitely a little bit different than what we're used to, but we all went out there and got gritty and we all ended up running really well in the day. And I think that we were all just mentally prepared going into the race, knowing what job we had to get done and knowing like how to do that. So it was definitely a little bit different, but just getting gritty and knowing that we can run in anything.
And Kelsey, what did you think of their performances?
Well, they were impressive all season, but definitely saw on the day of just their quiet confidence and composure that we saw all season long. And it was a lot of our meets had some interesting different conditions, whether that was way too hot or rainy. We always practice knowing that we could be, if it's a condition we could race in, then we're going to practice in it. So it was really just nice to see them rise to the occasion and not really be flustered at all by the conditions that day and show up with that composure and step up to the line. But yeah, like Maddie said, I mean, Maddie taking the championship and Jazz improved, gosh, it was like 40 spots or something from the year before.
Wow.
So just seeing this whole team from last year to this year just had a massive step up in improvements. And then all season long, just continually improving and bettering their places, bettering their times, bettering their competitiveness, which was really, I think, the best part.
Now, do you all compete for the same school?
Yes.
Yes.
And what is can you tell me the name of the school?
Yeah, so it's Wayzata High School, and
Okay.
they honestly are probably one of the best teams that's ever come out of the state of Minnesota.
Oh, cool.
As you know, so I'm officially the coach in the regular season and the number one fan in the postseason with
Yeah.
my husband as the coach. And in the regular season, they had a historic low 27 points to win the state meet. It was our
Wow.
Yeah, it was our
That's
fourth win in
awesome.
a row. So we tie with one other school that's done that before. So that was, I mean, they had a really incredible, you know, uh, I mean, obviously training phase, but then from the time we started competing in late August until early December was all very remarkable.
So, Jaslyn, was your goal to do well in the state meet and then focus on NXN, or was your goal all season NXN?
Our goal all season, we kind of knew we had a lot of potential with this team to do something really big at NXN. We've been able to qualify for like the past like 3 or 4 years or so.
Hmm.
So our entire like our mindset going into our season was our goal is NXN. We want to do as well as we can there. So we actually kind of trained through state. Like we were doing hard workouts like before it, and we kind of like tapered down a little bit for NXR, but like not even really. Like our main goal was NXN because we knew that we'd be able to make it and do well there.
Maddie, what did you think of how you guys focused on the season?
Yeah, I think throughout the whole season, even since the summer, our big focus was NXN and performing well at the Nike Cross National Meet. So, kind of all throughout our regular season, throughout sections and conference and our state meet, we were just training through that and really building a strong base where we knew that we could have a good peak at NXN. And even through NXR, we were definitely fresh to race, but we weren't like peaking then. We were focusing on the national meet for the whole season and hoping that we would get there and perform well.
Cool, cool. Um, Kalsey, what is it like seeing that your team is exceeding expectations and going to the national level?
It wasn't surprising.
Okay.
Definitely, like Maddie said, we knew that this was a team that had a lot of potential for big things. But I do think it's challenging to have that from the beginning. I think that the what really exceeded my expectations is how they handled what could have been a season filled with a lot of pressure and creating a
Yeah.
lot of overwhelm. And instead, they did just constantly rise to the occasion. They never took for granted that they had the talent and the skill set. They still showed up, put the work in, showed up to the line with the right type of adrenaline ready to go. So that's the part I think that really exceeded my expectations was how they executed the season. I'm not surprised with the outcomes. I mean, they're incredibly fun and but you just, there was nothing ever taken for granted. And there was
Sure.
consistently the work put in. And that's the part that was really, really neat to see.
Cool. Now, what did you, and I'm directing this to Jaslyn and Maddie right now, and then Kalsey, I'll ask each one of you for your response. Um, did you know right away at the regional that you had made the nationals?
Like before the race, did we know that we were going to qualify, or right when we crossed the finish line,
When
did
you
we know?
crossed the finish line, did you guys know that you had a pretty darn good performance?
Yeah, I think we did. I came through the finish line in first, and I was able to like turn around and cheer on all my teammates coming in. And then when I saw them coming in so far ahead of like the pack, and they were
Yeah.
all coming in at such good places, I kind of knew that we were going to qualify then. But it was so much fun seeing all of our hard work like come together and really just performing well at NXR and proving what we can do. I think that we all knew that we could have qualified for, or like that we could qualify for NXN, but really just doing it and proving it was a really cool thing to do.
Jaslyn, talk to me about seeing so much improvement this season.
It's just been so incredible because I feel like with every single one of my teammates, I've been able to look at them and just be like, I literally get emotional sometimes, like even just during a workout where I'm like, wow, like you did that so fast. You did an extra rep. Like I'm so proud of you. Like I've never seen that from you before. And it's showing up like in their like racing scores too, where I'm just like, wow, like you moved up so many places than you did from last year.
Yeah.
It's just been incredible because I feel like I've been with these senior girls because most of our team was seniors, like 6 out of the 7.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've been running together since freshman year. So just seeing them improve every single year has just been so incredible because like I still remember in freshman year when me and Maddie would finish like every single race like right by each other. And it's just like seeing the improvement in every single person has just been so wonderful to see. And especially this year, it's just like everyone's been shining so much.
That's cool. And Kalsey, what did you think about them qualifying at the NXR?
You know, watching that race, one of my favorite parts was, again, we were definitely a favorite,
Yeah.
but everybody got out smart and built throughout the race. And if you watched all of them at kind of that like 400-meter to go spot, they all found another gear. And so I
Cool.
just love that. I don't check my phone during races. I don't pay, like, I'm like, you got to wait till
Sure.
the finish line and figure out who won. But you could
Yeah.
tell that they were executing a really beautiful race strategy and that they were all finishing fast. And I think that's the part that was really fun about that. It was also really neat. We have our high school team is about 85 athletes, and we brought down a squad of almost 60 that competed. Obviously, our kind of varsity squad in the championship race, and then everybody else in the open race. And so to just also the part that was really meaningful was the team around all of
Yeah.
it. And that's been such a pillar of our season is yes, there's a varsity squad, but there's such an immense level of support. And I think we all feel that, both in the encouragement, but in the ways that there's people to push, people to lean on, people that always bring new, I don't know, ideas and things to the table. So it was really fun to have a lot of our squad there for that too.
That's awesome. Okay, now
Yeah.
I want to take you to the NXN, and I want you to describe for our viewers um, what it's like the couple days before the event. Let's, Jaslyn, tell me about the swag. I hear you guys get some fun stuff.
Yes, so we actually go over to the course the day before the race, and then we get
Okay.
to see like all the gear. We get our backpack and like the warm-ups. Our uniform is always really fun to see. So Nike really spoils us a lot, and we're so appreciative of it. And it's definitely easy for us to get like immersed, and it's like, oh my gosh, we get this, we get that. But we made sure the entire time that we were focused, like we're here for this race.
Yeah,
We're gonna race our hearts out and do it for each other. So the swag is super nice, but it's just like a bonus of the whole
sure.
experience at NXN.
Cool. Maddie?
About the gear or
Yeah.
about the few days
Just
before
like
the
kind of
race or
the
what?
before the race. So I'm sorry. Tell me a little about your thoughts about before the race, checking out the course, the swag, just kind of the celebration around the event.
Yeah, I think before the race, our whole team is all super grateful to be there. And I think we do a good job of balancing having a ton of fun while we're there, but also, like Jasleen said, keeping in mind like our goal and our focus well being in Oregon is the race. And so it was super cool to have all the support from Nike and all they have a bunch of professional athletes there to talk to. So it's really cool to get insight from them. And then just like seeing the course and seeing the Nike headquarters, the whole experience is a really cool thing to be able to be a part of. So I think it was really helpful too for some of our seniors to have been there before because it like helped us prepare knowing what was to come and then we could really focus on the race and focus on having fun and doing one last run for our team.
Kelsey, tell me about observing your athletes before NXN. How are they doing?
You know, it's really neat. I'm so impressed with the accountability and ownership these athletes took. As you know, after the state meet, I'm not the coach, I am the
Sure.
fan. And
Yeah.
so that's a big shift to have your coach that's with you for the rest of the year need to alter and change. And the way
Yeah.
that they just take it in stride and this group took ownership and accountability of each other and their actions. And you saw that in the weeks leading up to NXN, but especially then on site. I mean, my kids came with me. We literally were out hiking waterfalls. Like we weren't there at all. And so
Oh,
the way
wow.
that they just, Chris was with them and is obviously a wonderful leader, and him and I are amazing collaborators. We got married because we're so good at it. But like the way that they just take that all in stride really impressed me. And I think this year, like they said, they did it better than ever of knowing how to have fun and appreciate the moment and take it in, but really also focus on the task at hand.
Okay, so this is going to be for all three of you. I want to ask each one of you separately. Um, Before the NXN, did you think that you had a good shot at winning? Did you think it was an outside chance? Jaslyn, how did you think about that?
Yeah, I think one of the first times that I really thought it's like, wow, we could like take the whole thing home. I knew we were a very strong team, but then when I saw the rankings come out and it was like, whoa, we're ranked number one. I know rankings don't really matter too much, but it just kind of showed that like, oh, it's like other people think that we have a chance. Like other people support us and like are rooting for us. And that really gave me a lot of confidence in our team. We definitely knew, I think, that we could like do a podium finish or something, but
Mhm.
honestly, we kind of just like we always go out to a race and we're just gonna do our best on that day, and whatever that brings us, we're gonna be happy with. As long as we race our hearts out, there's no reason not to be proud of that.
Cool. Maddie, what were your thoughts?
I think kind of at the same moment, seeing the rankings come out when we were ranked number one going into the race was really a shift in a lot of our mindsets of thinking like, okay, we're at NXN to race, or like we're at NXN to race to try to podium or to try to win.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool being able to see the team really show up and be confident in us that we can perform well at the meet. And not having any expectations on ourselves to win, but just knowing that that's a possibility. And if we all race for each other and race with each other like we have all season, that great things can come out of it. So I think definitely like the big moment for me was when I saw that the rankings would come out. And the first time they came out, I think we were fifth, and we were always kind of in that top 10. But then when I saw the Wayzata Trojan is like the number one, that was a really cool moment.
And Coach Beach?
Yeah, I think from the get-go, we knew this team had the potential. I think when we flew home last year, we knew we had the potential. The neat thing about nationals is it can be anybody's day, as you
Sure.
like as you look back over the years, there's been many surprises because it is about who shows up that day as a team. A lot of things have to align really well. But one of our big mottos of the whole season was rooted in strong belief, and just this consistent belief in self, belief in each other, belief in team. And so I do think, echoing what the girl said, like there was a confidence builder when you saw belief from the outside running community too. And so that was pretty cool. But I do think that was a big thing, was just this constant piece of that. And all season long, times are great, but we tend to have a mentality of competing. And if you compete in a race, fast times will come. And that's kind of been our mentality for any championship race all year long. And I think that's such a huge component of a national race, is that idea of competing and setting yourself up for a strong competitive race. So yeah, so we knew we could do those things. So absolutely was not surprised. And obviously it was neat to see how it all turned out.
Sure. Jazleen, what did you think of the NXN course when you walked it?
Definitely the day before was interesting. I know we had a couple of slips here and there.
Yeah.
So I was personally really scared, but I was like, okay, no matter what the conditions are, everyone's gonna be going through it. It's okay. We can get through it even better. Like we are such a gritty team. But yeah, it was super muddy. It had been raining like the few days like prior to the race, but then
Yeah.
actually on race day, it was like so beautiful. Like I remember walking out to get our names announced. Like the sun was shining and the course isn't actually too bad at all. So honestly, it all worked out really well.
Maddie, what did you
Yeah,
think of the course?
the day before the course, it was definitely something different than I'd ever ran in before. Um, it was pretty muddy. I slipped and fell, and I know a lot of the other girls were slipping and falling too. But we have ran in rain before. We've ran in a little bit of muddy conditions before, and so I knew that if anything, it would be an advantage to our team because we've dealt with tough conditions before. And then going into race day, it was almost like it was just like meant to be. The sun came out to be shining, and the course had dried up a little bit. So it was definitely still muddy, but it wasn't as slippery as the day before. So I think just we were prepared from the season going into it, and we knew that we could really deal with any conditions.
Coach Beach?
Yeah, I think exactly what they've said. One thing we practiced all year, and I actually love, one of our assistant coaches told the story of overhearing Jazleen at a start line at one of our races in October, whispering to herself, "Control the controllables." And I think like that's what a course is, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
control the course, so control the controllables. And just having embraced that, it was kind of like a no biggie. What it is what it is. We're gonna, of course, like adjust the mechanics accordingly to whatever the course might be, adjust your spikes, talk about, how you might take some certain spots on the course or different things, but ultimately control the controllables.
Yeah. Just an aside, the day before, my brother Brian, who's my partner, our photographer, we've worked together for 35 years, and I
Cool.
coached him in high school. But we walked the course and we were going, oh my gosh, if there's a little rain on this thing, it is going to be crazy. And I've been to 17 of the 20 NXNs in 18 of the 20 border clashes. the Border Clashes used to be an event was Washington and Oregon high school kids on
Cool.
the Nike campus. But I got to tell you, the I've been to both the courses. I was going, oh my gosh, if it's any wetter, and you guys, it was wondrous conditions on the day of the race. So I think uh, control the controllables at Jazleen, as you said. I like that. That's a really great comment. But Kalsey, you're going to say something?
No, no, you're good.
All right, sorry, I just saw a little beeper went off there. I want to get to talk about so again, this series is the journey to compete, and what we're trying to do is help coaches and athletes understand how to compete at this level. And Jazleen, I really liked what Coach Beach said about your kind of mantra, control the controllables. Where did you get that, or how did you come up with
Honestly,
that?
the coaches are the ones who told me that. They always make sure that like we know like we have to control the controllables, because if you
Yeah.
start worrying about all these things that you can't control, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so cold, oh my gosh, it's so icy, it's so muddy. Like you can like make up all these excuses in your head, but excuses aren't gonna help you in your race. Like all you can do is just like you have yourself, you have like you just take one step after the other, and that's all you can do. You can't control any of these outside factors or how other people are going to race. So you just have to focus on yourself and what you can do personally to have your best race.
Cool. Thank you, Jazzy. Maddie, how do you deal with a little bit of the pressure of racing at this level?
I really just think that racing is a privilege, and it's a privilege to be able to come out and do what I love. And I'm really grateful to be able to be healthy and racing and able to do it with a team that can train with me. And it's just such a cool opportunity to be able to do it. So if I feel pressure, I just think about like how grateful I am to be able to have this team to compete with, how grateful I am to be able to have pressure, because pressure really is a privilege. And knowing like what they said, I can control the controllables. I'm just going to go out there and race my best race that I can do on that day. And whatever the outcome is, I'll know that I'll have given it my all.
Love
Cool.
that.
Coach Beach, your thoughts about their mental preparation before races?
We definitely tried to fill our tool belt all year long with ways to handle pressure, with ways to, practice like we race and compete. One thing we did this year, and we've done it in different ways, but this year we actually used a book, Performing Under Pressure. It was something I heard actually from another coach at a coach's clinic, and we took different strategies out of it and kind of practiced one at each meet. And some of them I don't think hit as hard as others, but some really took some traction for us. And one of them was we implemented a breathing exercise, and we started all of our pre-meet start line, sort of cheers and conversations with breathing in and out and doing a little square breathing. So I think things like that were really cool to take those different tools all year long and find what works for each athlete and be able then, practice it in a hard workout. We would talk about that. Practice your fueling and practice your mental mindset and a mantra or a pressure tool you're going to use during this hard workout. And then you at least have tried it on before the race happens. So I think those were a big one. And then we just talked a lot as races all season long obviously increase in intensity about it's still a 5K. And it might be a special 5K, but it's still a 5K. Like what things haven't changed? And really a lot hasn't changed. It's just that it's maybe a little more special and maybe there's some fireworks at a start line, but really it's still a 5K. So I
Cool.
think those two things were big for us this year.
Okay. Um, Now I want to get to talking a little bit about the race. Jazleen, what do you remember from the NXN race?
I remember the start line. It was definitely interesting because they had like blown the whistle, and then some of us had already like prepared to start going, and some people like started running, and then they were like, "Oh, like come back, come back." And then they blew like the gun as they were telling us to like back up. So we were kind of just like we got off to a rocky start. But then after that, it was all just about competing. Like we literally talk about like our racing, like it's like a Pac-Man. It's like
Yeah.
you start off for the first mile, like you're strong, you're smooth, you're smart in your race strategy. But then that second mile, like that's where people fall. That's where it gets like really hard, because it's like you're halfway there, but then you also have the other half to go. So it's just like stay in control, like stay focused, and just keep on focusing on getting the next person right in front of you. And then always we finish fast. Like that last mile, we had a point around like the 2 mile mark at the race. We were like, this is the point where it's like every like you make a gear shift here, you make a gear shift here. Like this is where you go. we actually started we said that we were going to repeat like our teammates names to each other, to ourselves, to really push us through that last mile, because it's like we're doing this race for each other. So I was like,
Yeah.
Maddie, Miley, Allie, like I was saying every single person's names because that was really what was driving us forward. And then always the finish line, it's a blur. It's just like you're sprinting all out. I usually finish. Sometimes I fall. Sometimes I just fall like right into Maddie's arms and she catches me. And then, yeah.
That's cool. Maddie, tell me about what you remember from the race. What are your memories?
Yeah, so like Jazleen said, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're.
Okay, my AirPods like went weirdly for
Oh,
a second. So like Jazleen said, the starting line was a little bit chaotic. But going into what Coach Kalsey said about our tool belt is like we have all these tools in our tool belt that we can pull out. So even though the race might have started off a little rocky, like control the controllables, we can make up from a rocky start. All the other teams went through it too. And then really just like throughout the race, repeating mantras to myself and really thinking about like taking quick strides. And at that 2 mile mark where Jazleen was saying we had a point where it's like, this is where you really race for your team. And this is where you believe in yourself and believe in your goals, because anybody can get through the first mile or mile and a half in the race, but it's really that second part of the race that's really tough mentally and physically. And that's when it can be really hard to get to the end of the race. So just like repeating my teammates' names, like Jazleen, Lila, Miley, just everybody, and then having my mantras like driving your knees quickly up those hills, and then really just finishing strong, because if you leave it all out there, you like can't regret anything that you did during the race. So I think just having those tools in your tool belt that you can pull out, and like racing for something bigger than just yourself will help. Like it helps carry me through all my races.
Coach Beach?
Yeah, I mean, Larry, as you know, spectating on that course it's not easy either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
during the race, definitely trying to get all over. It was
Yeah.
interesting. When I first saw them, I did kind of think they were a little farther back than we'd kind of talked about and what we
Sure.
like thought they would be. So it was kind of interesting when I heard about the start after the facts. I didn't see the start line. I was a little further out, but I loved knowing that no one panicked over a moment. And we
Yeah.
talked about that a lot throughout the season too. Like there was no panic over a moment. They just adjusted, and it might have meant they had to build a little more momentum in the middle of the race. So that was kind of what I remember the first time I saw them was like, well, they look really smooth, but they're not quite where I thought they would be. But they just adjusted and slowly moved. Definitely, we have like some of our athletes that we've always teed off of, and knowing like building off of each other or running together. There were races this year where we'd see an athlete, like kind of hit their thigh as like okay, let's go group, we're making a move. And you could see that happening during the middle of the race. So I loved that. And like I was at one of the hills and loved watching them just power up over and really like building on that. Yeah. And then ultimately, I mean, it was wild. You could tell it was close. I mean, especially at this meet, there's just so much happening that we knew it was close, and it was hard to say whether or not we had it. So it was really fun watching that finish and knowing that if we did win, it was going to be a total team effort that made it
Yeah.
happen. And I just like get goosebumps thinking about that. We had one of our amazing runners that I really think sets us up every race, and the girls just tee off of her. She went hard. I mean, she got out smart and right. One of our freshmen really cues off of her. They had an amazing race, and for whatever reason, that day just wasn't quite right for her. And with like 300 meters to go, she went down. She got back up, went like another 30 meters, and went down. And it was like, oh gosh, it's not safe for her to finish.
Yeah.
She went hard, and we were so proud of her and couldn't have done what we did without her. But you see that happen, and she's
Yeah.
normally a number 4 scorer. And we're like,
Oh
ooh,
my God.
what does that mean? But I think our number 6, Addison, kind of saw it happening and was like, oh boy, I better get my turbojets going. And
Yeah.
she did. So it just was such a cool way that the team truly carries each other. And the day was won by a total team effort. And so that's what I like remember as I watched thinking and seeing unfold. That was really, really cool.
Hey, you won by 5 points, 142 to 147 over Niwot, who, they win everything in Colorado. So congratulations. But it's really been inspiring to hear your story today. What I'm going to ask you is a final thoughts from each one of you about the experience, but also Coach Beach, afterwards, if you would be so kind, is to email me the list of your entire team. Uh,
Yes.
we'll put them all up there. What I'd love to see is who we're able to race. But you talked about how you have 85 athletes on the team. Give me all the names. We'll put them up in the article too. I think it's kind of fun,
Yes, love
and I
that.
really like that.
Well, and I know
Yeah.
I can speak for these girls and they agree, like all 85 of them impact them and their success and their race. And so I love that. Thanks, Larry. That's really cool. It's one of
Yeah.
the neat things about our sport is that it is a team. I mean, you run by yourself, but it definitely takes your team.
Yeah. No, it just I think I've watched the video several times now because watching watching races like I've covered 10 Olympics and like 15 world champs, and to me it's
Wow.
like Christmas going to these things, you know.
Yes.
And but to see the performance is always inspiring.
Mhm.
But then when I go back and I watch the broadcast, there's other things you see, and what I think you're hearing this, I'll be able to take some of that. I'm working on a story for the newsletter for next week about your team,
Awesome.
and and then we'll have the whole video up there as well too. And then we're going to break out some clips. I'll share it with you all so you can share that with the team as well. But
Oh,
so you've survived 37 minutes with me, Jazleen, Maddie, and Kalsey. You've done very well. So this is your
it's
last
been
question.
very fun. Thank you.
Well, thank you. No, this is a blast. I I do uh probably a half dozen podcasts a week, and I get to talk to athletes, and to me it's really inspiring. And you all have been this is I had been very curious about your club because I've been seeing your results everywhere for years, and I'm kind of going, wow, what are they? And I know Carrie Tollefson really well.
Yeah.
And I've known Carrie since she was a high schooler in Minnesota. She made the Olympic team, I think back in 2004, and got
Yeah.
to meet her daughter. So it kind of cracked me up a little bit. But you had a great performance, and I really liked that people were able to rise above some of the challenges. Jaslyn, give me what are how are you putting this all in perspective? Winning the national championships, you had a state championships, you won the NXR, and now you won the nationals. How do you place that, and how are you putting that together?
Nationals is definitely something that I'm going to remember for like the rest of my life. But it's honestly like every single one of those moments. Like I remember us getting our conference championship, and then we always like go out and get food. And after state, it's like, oh my gosh, like we went out to the movies afterwards. And then like after nationals, like we're going to go make like gingerbread houses. Like all these things, like they're so huge. And we're so incredibly grateful that we had the opportunity to race and all of that, but we just celebrate the same way. We're just like enjoying each other's companies. We're proud of our hard work. But like Kalsey said, like it was just a 5K. Like it doesn't like define who we are. We just
Yeah.
really just love each other, and we're going to appreciate everything that we did. We're going to celebrate that, and we're going to move on to the next big thing. Like
Cool.
we have such big goals and we have so many opportunities ahead of us. We have track coming up, and there's like Maddie's in Nordic right now. Like we're on to the next thing, but it's definitely going to be
Awesome.
something that's like in our hearts forever.
Cool. Maddie, what are your final thoughts for today?
Honestly, I think that Jazleen summed it up perfectly. Um, I mean, it's definitely something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life is winning the national meet with my team. But I'll more so remember is just all the little moments that we had with the team leading up to it, all the times that we laughed together, struggled together, or like just went through life together. And so after the race, we'll celebrate and we'll have a lot of fun, but then really just keeping our minds on the next big goal. And we all are going to have such big and bright futures ahead of us. And just using this meet as kind of a cool confidence builder and a stepping stone and a really cool experience. And just as knowing that, like, we can accomplish great things in our life and we can do hard things is really just something that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life.
Cool. And Coach Beach?
You know, I what I love about this and this moment is just the catalyst that it is for our sport, for our program, for these girls. Like I think they're underestimating the role models they are right now. It's been really neat to just see the media attention and the different people that notice. I mean, the amount of even just text message I've gotten, or we had a reporter, a local reporter that reached out and she did say, she's like, I was going to do a story on you guys after state, but I didn't get around to it. And now she did the story,
Oh,
and cross
great.
country doesn't always get the 5 o'clock news slot. And so I just
Yeah.
love that this is a catalyst for that. And I love what it does for our program. We talked way back in July about, with all of our seniors, about this is their legacy season and there will never be another 2025 cross country season. And I'm just so proud of the mark they've left, not just in being champions, but in really like embodying what it means to be a champion. And I think that's the part that's cool. Our program won the championship in 2013, and I wasn't around then. These girls weren't around, but we get to like ride that wave and continue
Yeah.
now our next step in that. So I just think that part's really neat too. And I'm really excited for, like, it is that legacy piece of these seniors will be gone, but I have a feeling our team was going to be incredibly stronger next year because of what they did this year. And so that piece is really exciting for me.
Well, I wanted to congratulate Wayzata High School, the Wayzata Track Club, for their uh, winning ways, to Chris and Kalsey Beach, both coaches. And Coach Beach, if you can send me the list of all the athletes on your team,
You
and
got
then
it.
also the athletes who competed in the NXN, I'm going to include that in the article. Jazleen, Maddie, thank you so much for your honesty and your time today and representing your team so well. You do very well on podcast. I'm quite impressed. And Coach Beach, thank you so much. This is Larry Eder for the Journey to Compete, a collaboration with Nike and RunBlogRun. We're with Jazleen. I'm going to try to not mess up your name. Jazleen Malherek-Osorio and Maddie Gullickson and Coach Kalsey Beach. And Coach Chris Beach is in the background somewhere.
Right. That's right. Thank you, Larry. This was
Thank
awesome.
you very much.
Thank you for having us.